Hello everyone. This is a video giving you some information about the Ecospot, essentially explaining what it is so that you get a good sense of what is expected while you are thinking about your Ecospot ideas. So let's get started. The Ecospot is a really important assignment for your final grade for this course. Taking together Ecospot related assignments and the feedback that you provide for your classmates on their Ecospot projects are 60% of your final grade. What that means is that the expectations are relatively high. Your final project should be of excellent quality and content. The main goal of the Ecospot is to demonstrate your ability to communicate and engage using online technology. Um, this is the kind of assignment in which you are encouraged to be creative. That might include trying different technologies, but essentially going beyond your limits as far as the use of technology goes, and also try to impress your classmates, um, and maybe even impress yourself. Now, a general overview of this assignment is that you are expected to create an interactive media product that addresses an environmental issue and that can be shared online with a broad audience. Uh, it should be a media product that you can share with other people without you being next to it, so that it can be seen or listened on its own. It's a standalone thing that is you release into the internet for others to see. Um, if you want to use the same platform as you did for the TPR, that is perfectly okay. Of course, the Ecospot should be of much greater quality and it would take more effort than the TPR. But if you're already familiar with a platform um, and that you enjoy and that you want to use again, that's fine. If you want to do something completely different, that is also okay. Um, Further details about this project include the fact that you should be able to share it with your classmates through the BAT workshop, um, and also with your audience online. It's meant to be an online um, project, and that means that whatever you end up creating should be something that you put out there. So it shouldn't be restricted to, a small group in the internet that happens to have access to it. Uh, Engaging local organizations in your community in the media creation process is certainly a possibility and can improve the quality of your work, but it's not really a requirement. Talking about that, sometimes you'll come across a local organization that for whatever reason is in need of either a website or a video or an online presentation or an audio tour, and they are an organization that is working on environmental issues. Maybe they don't know all that much about online technologies, or maybe it's a small group so they haven't done this kind of thing before, and if you want to help them out and collaborate with them to create your Ecospot and make that uh, whatever it is that they are requiring, that is great. You can totally help them, but you will still have to fulfill the requirements of the assignment. That being said, that's a nice way to make your work for this class significant. So if you see that those kinds of opportunities, it is okay to take them. Um, we can continue talking about this, and if you have ideas related to that, let me know and I can tell you if it's okay or not. But again, look for those kinds of opportunities if they are around you. Now, the basics of how the steps for the Ecospot are divided is: first you come up with your idea, um, which is just in general what you want to do, and then in the next step, the research and action plan, you actually provide some background and then start giving it the shape that is going to have by explaining the ideas. You're still not creating anything, but you get a clear plan of what you want to do. For Ecospot 1.0, you're actually creating a draft that should be as close as possible to the final version. And then in 2.0, you applied whatever feedback you get from the previous spot to create a final polished version. Now, in each one of these steps, you're going to be getting feedback from your classmates, from your student leaders, and from myself. So essentially, you should, at the end of it, end up with a product that is very complete and that has been looked over by people a bunch of times. Now, because this is called the Ecospot, as in ecology, the expectation is that you will be looking at an environmental or conservation related issue. Um, in the next step in the research and action plan, you will be providing some feedback about the environmental issue that you want to cover. I meant some background about that issue. Now, as part of it, it's also a good idea to start thinking about how can your audience make a difference about the environmental issue. And a requirement that is included in the assignment guidelines is that your Ecospot should be an interactive project. And what we mean by that is that there's many videos out there online where there's a creator of content who puts it online, and then the audience is just passively receiving that information without either taking any action on their own on those environmental issues, or not providing any feedback or other kinds of input back to the creator of that content. So the idea is that your audience should not be just passive. They should do something as a result of um, of seeing your media product, and that can be a variety of things. And I will talk more about this later, but just be aware that that is a requirement for your project. It's also important to consider that we're talking about something that you're going to put out there online, and then it's going to be available to the online community, which is global. So that is a huge advantage. You can, because you're using online technology, reach a wide audience that normally you might not be able to reach if you were just talking with people locally, right? So what I want you to think about when you're working on your Ecospot ideas is that even if you are thinking, okay, I'm going to work with people locally and that's my primary audience, also think about how the materials you create for your project might be used by a wider community of people out there. Because don't limit yourself to thinking locally when there's a possibility of expanding your reach to people in all over the world essentially, but also just thinking about at a distance from you. Now, finally, I just want to give you a few ideas of technology that you can probably apply to whatever you're thinking about for your Ecospot. So, for example, Google has a variety of tools that are available to us, which um, are very similar in their use among them. So once you know how to use Google Docs, you can probably use spreadsheets and slides. Maps have similar ways of sharing them. And there's also forms and tours, and all of them can be integrated into your projects in different ways. There's also the capacity of using the Google Drive, which you have available to you through your Miami email account. And you can certainly use that just to store content, but also if you're creating a website, it can be used to store video or audio files that then you can embed directly into your website. There's SoundCloud, which is an audio hosting service, and there's several other services similar to it. But one nice thing about SoundCloud is that people can provide you with comments directly at different points on your audio track, which again would contribute to that idea of having an interactive project if you're creating something that's primarily audio based. Um, there's also, for people that are working on websites, there's a huge variety of different applications that can be embedded into a website. It's essentially people come up with an idea of something that you can add to a website and then they create it. So a good example of this is a forum that you can add into a website if you're using either Wix or Weebly as a way of making your work interactive. But there's also a bunch of other things you can add. Um, for example, a chat feature. You can add comment boxes. You can do a wide variety of things. This is one of the nice ones, by the way. And then if you're doing video stuff and you're using YouTube, there's YouTube annotations, which are really nice because they allow you to give additional information. They can also be used to include links to relevant sources. And you can also use them to provide either attribution or references or both, so that if people want to disable them so that they're not distracted by the references, they can do that, but then you also have them as part of your video. Um, if you are thinking more about um, doing something educational, there are TED Ed Lessons and PlayPosit, which are applications that allow you to take a YouTube video and then transform that into an online lesson. In this case, it would be a video that you create for your Ecospot, and then you make it interactive through adding those components that are available through those two applications. There's also, and I find this very useful, applications that allow you to record your screen from your computer. So there's Manycam, which is the one I'm using right now to create this video. It's a free application and it can record from your webcam or from your screen desktop. And there's also Screencast-O-Matic. There's a few others, and I think we have at least one more in the list of pre-approved applications for the Ecospot. But these two I've tried and I would recommend them. And with that, I will say thank you guys for listening. As always, I'll be available through email and through messages to answer your questions about coming assignments. But that's all for now, and then I'll just see you at the workshop. Bye.